A lot of people just want to say that INTPs and ENTPs, the only difference between them is like one is an introvert and one is an extrovert. So ENTPs are the extroverted version of INTPs, but that couldn't be further away from truth. INTPs, to tell you about them, are guardians of truth. We're detached observers who are really trying to understand the world for what it is. We don't have agendas, normally speaking. We just really care for truth for the sake of truth, and we use our creativity as a methodology to achieving that truth, to further our framework, our understanding of our framework, to be able to be like, hey, this exists, that. It's a way to stay neutral in a way, be like, hey, look at that possibility, but this could exist, that could exist. The best judges ever are INTPs because, well, they're not looking through their own feelings. They don't have that how do I speak of feelings? They don't have that that bias, because feelings are always biased and they're not representative of truth, honestly. If they're ever representative of truth, it's just random. It's by luck that they're ever representative of truth. They're thinkers. We're thinkers. And so we look at things for really just what they are, what they genuinely are, and we look at the all possibilities. So we're not stuck to one thing or the other thing, and we can be effective with them. We're very much also attentive to all the details. It's like we're not like in items where we're like, oh, this is red, this is blue, this is green, and we're like a million shades. These are the million shades which exist, and we're very precise with the things we do. And we use logic and creativity and our precise as a method to be guardians of truth, simply said. But ENTPs are active players in the world, and they have agendas. As much as it might seem like they don't, they have agendas. So a lot of people like to describe the Joker as kind of the best example of someone being an ENTP. It's a fiction character, but it's still pretty good. It's kind of the representation of like the ultra ego. It's like the kind of mythical expression of what it means to be an ENTP. But if you look at the Joker, actually, he does say that he's like a dog chasing cars and he wouldn't know what to do if he caught one. But the Joker was actually the hero of the Dark Knight. The Joker saw the patheticness of the SI and NI values that Batman was trying to like uphold, and the traditional ways of fixing problems. And he was like, all of the shit that you believe in is absolute, and I'm gonna destroy it, and I'm gonna show you how the destruction of it is gonna lead to a better world. The chaos that you believe will just be it's the absolute antithetical thing to peace and prosperity. It's what's gonna bring them. And through every method that goes completely against your traditions and completely against your vision, it's gonna bring exactly what you wanted that you're too blind to see. And that's exactly what happened after the Joker finishes his plan. And he never really had a plan. A lot of people like think of the Joker as like this guy who was an INTJ or like ENTJ and I figure who's like had a plan for everything. No, he just, here's the possibility, here the possibility, here the possibility, do this, do that, do that, do that on the spot. Most of the things that he did and most of the things that worked out for him were more on the spot than they were like greater fucking magnificent mega brain INTJ. Obviously it was somewhat in the shadow, but we don't talk about that for now. And so that is exactly the mythical expression and the real world expression of what it means to be the ENTP. You're the antidote to SI and NI, to destroy traditions, to be the agent of chaos, to bring order through chaos, to bring peace and prosperity to chaos, to balance out the NI and SI. That's what your mission is as an ENTP. That mission is utterly and completely not comparable to the INTP's mission. One thing that is comparable is that we're both trying to shine truth on something. But in every other sense of the word, we're not similar at all. Just like how the INTP and INTJ are not similar at all when it comes to Their letters, they're similar, but everything else, they're not similar. ENTPs and INTPs are utterly completely different. We're detached, observing, agendaless guardians of truth. ENTPs have agendas. They have FE, pretty high up in their slot. And their TI is merely a tool that is being sucked in through their NE black hole. Well, it's the opposite for us. And as much as it might seem that, INTPs take responsibility for the truth within their internal framework, it is absolutely not unlikely that they just find a way to fit in their FE, find a way to fit in a truth, a half truth, in order to serve their FE. One great example and one great difference between INTPs, the INTP will hear out anybody, even if they've framed them badly, even if they had fights, even if that, even if the INTP does not seem to like that person all that much, the INTP would never, ever take away their liberty to hear more opinions and more information and more data. The INTP would never, ever do that. If they ever do, they're a broken INTP. I think it's questionable whether an INTP or not. The INTP will always take the opportunity to get more information and more data. And the INTP has this kind of level of humbleness to them, in that they're always considering the possibility that they could be wrong. And they do not make great decisions based off that. But the INTP, because of the nature of their FE, they have this kind of categorization system of who matters and who doesn't, and who they're willing to hear and who they're not willing to hear. And they're completely fine with missing information or data. If they consider that someone is bad, they could not care less of what great thing they would miss, because they consider them bad. But the INTP would not forgive themselves for such a great mistake. It'd be a great mistake to do that. That's one big difference, It's like the INTP is like, oh, I don't care. I gave them my shot. I don't respect that person. I don't care. Could care less. The INTP would be like, what the fuck? That's information. I could not give shit. I do not care about the social dynamic. I do not care about my own feelings. Who gives a shit about that shit? I could not care about that. If that means that I failed my role as the guardian of truth, and see, that's a huge difference. That's just not introversion, extroversion. That's fundamentally different people we're talking about here. And so, if anyone ever tells you that INTPs and ENTPs are similar, they're absolutely stupid and beyond stupid. We have similarities, yes, in very limited capacities, but we're extremely different people. We're in different worlds and we're in different dimensions with different goals. And if you're ever wondering if you're an INTP or ENTP, ask yourself those following questions. The things that I've been talking about. In which category do you fit more? Because these two categories are completely different. Completely and utterly different. Yes, there are similarities. But, between every type, the biggest similarity is probably going to be between them and their shadow, even though they're completely, utterly different people. But ultimately, the types are different for a reason. It's just not like switch the letter. No, you're switching the fundamental role of that person and the fundamental identity of that person. And yeah, that's my video about ENTPs, the difference between ENTPs and INTPs, the agents of chaos versus guardians of truth. And with that, I'm gonna head out. Go check out my other video about which types are more compatible with INTPs. Subscribe and like to pay the rent, please. And peace out.